Right, guys. Welcome back to the Physique Academy podcast. This is the podcast where we talk all things training, nutrition, and lifestyle. Today's special guest has come all the way over from Michigan in the United States here for this weekend for the Loughborough Summit. Sean Anderson, everybody. How are we doing, brother?
Doing wonderful. How about you, man?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Not too bad. Not too bad. How was your travels coming over?
It was good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Nice smooth trip.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've probably not got much sleep, be a bit jet lagged, but got a few questions, mate. So Sean is coached by Matt and has been on the program for 2 years and has recently finished phase 1, dropped a total of 58 pounds.
Yep.
Of course, like you say, it's been 2 years, so it's probably been quite up and down in your journey. But I wanted to sort of go back first and talk about, before you actually started the program, what inspired you, where you were currently at with your mindset at that time, and what sort of pushed you to book in for a call and then take that next step, to coming on board with Matt 2 years ago.
So basically, I've been going to the gym for a long time, probably 15 years. And I was gaining size, but I just wasn't getting cut. So there was a guy that goes to my gym, and he was showing some pictures to a few of the guys from his recent transformation. And so I overheard him talking, and then like at the end of my session, I went over and was like, "Hey, who you working with, if you don't mind me asking?" And he's like, "Oh, dude, I'm working with Physique Academy." And I think he was working with Ash. And
That's me.
I think he was working with you, man. And so he ended up.
What was his name?
Chris Lewis.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, he was on board for a long time. Chris, he's a diehard physique brother. He's a diehard physique brother.
Yeah, definitely. So that's how I heard about you guys, and so he sent me over the link, and I filled out everything, and then Matt ended up giving me a call, and I talked to Matt and got on board. Nice, man. So I got to see the results firsthand, from like right in person.
Yeah. I saw it firsthand. So it was like word of mouth really that inspired you to book in. And was it Matt that you had your first call with? Yeah. Before you onboarded, right? Okay. But for you, like taking that next step, so you obviously bulked up quite a lot, but really, what was the motivation for you wanting to then get shredded, get diced? Was it like more for family? Because I know you're a dad of 2, right? How old are your kids?
Yeah, 18.
Three.
Yeah,
3 kids.
18, 17, and 14.
Right. Okay.
So it was. I'd always wanted to be shredded, and I just wasn't having success doing it on my own. I mean, I like felt like I had good workouts, but my understanding of the nutrition and stuff just wasn't there.
Right. So you think for you the biggest downfall was, which is for a lot of people, managing the dietary side of things, the nutrition.
Absolutely.
And I think it's consistency with that, because like some people are good at following like a diet plan for maybe a week, but then they just end up throwing in the towel, falling off, and then it's like restart the following week, but then they'll just gain the weight back. So it's just like yo-yo, up and down constantly. Yep. Whereas when you've got that checking in place with the accountability from Matt, it makes you show up and it makes you think, right, I've actually got to put in the work. I've actually got to do my workouts. I've actually got to log all my nutrition. Otherwise, he's going to be asking questions.
Right. Yep. I got someone to answer to next week.
Yeah. But I know you're a business owner as well. What business is it you run, Sean?
It's called Real Freight Solutions. So we do government logistics. We move soldiers around for deployments and for training. So we move their equipment around. Right.
Okay. And is that relatively sedentary? Are you quite active? Are you moving around a lot whilst you're doing that? Or
no, not really. It's like at a computer in my office.
Right. Okay. So when Matt was like scheduling like your cardio, your steps and stuff, did that always reflect what it was you were aiming for in like your nutrition?
Yeah.
For example, like for monitoring your steps, were you aiming for quite a high step count, or for like your general daily activity was it a bit on the lower end, but then your calories were maybe like reflecting that?
No, it was just 10,000 steps.
10,000 steps standard.
Yeah. And then like we were doing 2,200 calories of cardio a week.
2,200. Yeah. How many strength training sessions were you doing?
5.
And was that consistent throughout the entire 2 years?
Yeah.
Were there any periods where you maybe sort of dropped that and started missing a few sessions and then you sort of had to rein it back? Or were you pretty consistent with your exercise? It might have just been more the diet.
I was consistent with the exercise besides a couple of injuries that I had. So I had an injury where I couldn't go to the gym for about 3 weeks, and I ended up gaining like 20 pounds back, and because I was still eating the same, but not going at all. Couldn't do it. I couldn't even walk on the treadmill because my back was so jacked up. So
how did you injure yourself?
I have no clue. I just woke up one day and my back was just jacked up.
Right.
Yeah, it was bizarre. Like I worked out on Friday, had a couple things that we did over the weekend, and Monday morning I woke up and couldn't even move.
Nothing like to do with like manual handling. You weren't doing like any heavy lifting or anything like that. No, must have just
it's
been
that age. It's that age, man.
How old actually are you?
46.
46.
Yep.
46. Just goes to show that age is just a number.
Yep.
And now obviously you're coming into phase 2. So we were just talking before. You've not actually started your maintenance calories yet, but I assume you know what the expectancy is going to be for progressing into phase 2. And what's your like main goal or like roadmap for you coming into that second phase? Because for me, it's like 60-70% of the work really. Like I know you've been on the program for 2 years and we want to get you to that lowest body fat percentage possible, but phase 1 really is only part of the transformation, because we're trying to make sure that you create a sustainable lifestyle out of it long term, so you're able to maintain the results basically for the rest of your life. You're not going to have to come back to the program. That's the whole purpose of phase 2. But what's your like goals coming into that phase now? Is it to build muscle, gain size? What is it?
I want to gain some size back, but stay lean. And so that's what I was telling Matt. I'm like, I almost don't even want to leave phase 1 just because I finally got so shredded up, man. It's like
there's a different mindset shift with phase 2, which is something that I say to a lot of my guys. Like you're going from one mindset of like, for one person, it'll be universal. So you're losing 1 to 2 pounds. That'll be the same for me. That'll be the same for you, Gabriel, Zane. You're looking to lose 1 pound to 2 pound every single week consistently. Whereas when you come into phase 2, right, you come up to maintenance and that's like the only time really where you float on the program. But then when you come into a surplus, you might start to gain weight, but are you actually gaining the right weight that you want to? And that's where like, your macro portions come in quite important. But yeah, that's why, I think the accountability is even more so important in phase 2, because some people will see the increase in calories and think they're going to stick to the deficit numbers, and then they just see those extra like calories as off-plan food, whereas that's not the case. You still want to get the best nutritional value from your maintenance and your surplus calories, and that's when it becomes quite difficult. But talk to me a little bit about Matt's help along the way. How did he help over the last 2 years reframe your relationship with food, things like appetite, cravings, sustaining energy throughout the day, and things like that?
Matt did a great job of working with me because he calls me a foodie. So I like that. That's my weakness, man, baked goods and like chocolate. And so I did exactly what you're talking about. I'd be looking like, oh, well, I got this much calories, and I'd eat off plan, eat a little something. And then I started realizing like, that's not going to work. It doesn't, even though the calories might be right, the way that my body would react to what the calories were made all the difference. And so Matt just like did a really good job of helping me adjust that relationship with food and realizing like, hey, you don't have to totally cut it out, but you got to make sure that if you're going to do something different, you got to stay on point like everything else. And then he gave me some like alternative things that were still treats, but they were better, like the Halo Top ice cream and stuff like that.
They're like bang for your buck for calories.
Yeah. So it wasn't so calorie dense, but I still felt like I was getting a treat, and so that helped a lot.
Did you do any like protocols to help with like cravings throughout the day, like intermittent fasting? Would you structure your meals? Because obviously you're going to be busy as a business owner.
Yeah.
How did you structure your nutrition and like your training around that in terms of like time to prep? Did you push your first meal back to late morning and then eat within like an 8-hour window? Did you, just sort of eat when you were hungry? How did you sort of structure your days?
That's what I did for the last few months, especially, was I started shrinking my window of eating and doing it closer to like an intermittent fast. And also I started taking retatrutide, which really helped with the cravings.
Peptide.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's that mimics gut hormones, doesn't it? In order to
it's like a GLP-1.
Yeah. It helps suppress your appetite, I think, doesn't it?
It helps your appetite be suppressed. It also makes it so that you feel full faster. And it signals for your body to burn fat for fuel. So
I think I've actually seen some like literature on that, some like case studies. I don't think it's like universal at the moment. I think it's a lot of it's like has to be under medical supervision by doctors. Is that right?
Yeah.
The way
So in America, you can just order the peptides from certain labs.
Yeah.
So I did blood work with Physique Academy with George. Started working with George. I joined the inner circle. And so under like his guidance is when I switched to the peptides, and it was a game changer for me. Like it really helped like hone me in and like helped me to really focus.
Was there anything else from your blood work that came back that caught your attention that you sort of had to act on or not?
Overall blood work was pretty good. There was a little bit of stuff like with kidney distress from having too high of B2 or B12, and stuff like that from energy drinks.
Right.
So George and Matt both got on me like, if you're gonna have one a week at max,
one a week, yeah. We've gone from like 1 or 2 a day to one a week.
Yeah. So other than that, I had already been working with a doctor, and I was working with 10X for a little bit. So my blood work was pretty dialed in beyond that.
Right. You'll find the next guest that I've got on the podcast quite interesting. AJ, who does all the blood work in Physique, he's actually coming on next. So we'll probably do a deep dive in a lot of what that information means. Because, I know bits and bobs, but that's not like my forte. That's why, we've got AJ on board.
That's who I was working with, was AJ and George. So,
yeah.
He knows a lot of stuff. He's really good at that, man.
Yeah. And I'm sure, like I said, there'll be a lot of insight and value when he comes on as the next guest. What's been the biggest differentiator between you trying to do it alone and then having Coach Matt in your corner, do you reckon?
The knowledge. Just like Matt was so knowledgeable about what to do. So it was like, as opposed to me guessing and trying to figure things out, I just realized if I just do exactly what he tells me to do and follow the food plan, do the workouts, I'm gonna lose the weight, I'm gonna hit the goal. Whereas before it would like just yo-yo, I'd start dropping down and then like we were talking about.
Yeah, we just provide the blueprint at the end of the day. But that's where we're in a service-based industry like this. With the program, like some people have the mindset of you throw money at a problem and it will be resolved by monetary value. But with a service like this, you put money towards it, but then you only really get out what you actually put in to the program, which I think some people, especially if that's what they're used to when it comes to like problems that they might have in their lifestyle, they'll throw money at it, and then like say if like they've got a car problem, they can pay a mechanic and it sorts itself out. Whereas with your body, unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that.
No, not at all. Plus that accountability of knowing like, okay, like if I see Matt next week on Zoom or I'm sending him my check-in and he's going to do the loom, the first thing he's going to say is, hey, dude, your weight didn't go down at all. What'd you eat?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Yeah. Has there been any, I mean, you can be honest now because you finished phase 1, so you're coming into that second phase, but has there been any moments where you thought, shall I just lie on my check-in form? And then, because
I'm not gonna lie, I did.
You did,
I did. There was a couple times where I fudged the numbers a little bit. Like, man, I don't even want Matt to see how much
Coach's worst arch nemesis, that, because then we'll look at it and think, right, so the weight's maybe gone up or it's the same, but you've hit your steps, you've hit your cardio, you've hit your strength. Yeah, it looks like you've hit your nutrition. So there's something that's not like that's not adding up.
Right. So there was especially when I got back from my cruise. I took a cruise, and so I was gone for like 3 weeks, and I gained like 18 pounds while I was gone. And so Matt's like
smashing the all-inclusive buffets.
Oh yeah,
mate.
All-inclusive everything. The drinks were bad. Yeah. So we get back, and I put it down a little bit. Like, I'm not gonna put. And Matt's like, "Ooh, man, bro, you went up that much?" And I'm thinking, actually, a little bit more, dude. I'm gonna have to do a 3-day fast on this one.
Full on cleanse, mate. Full on detox.
Yeah.
Did you find it difficult to sort of get back into the mindset of cutting after a trip like that? Because like if you've gained 18 pounds in 3 weeks, you'll think it might have taken you like 6 weeks to maybe 6 to 8 weeks to lose that amount. If you're losing 2 pounds a week, then you're like, fuck, I'm sort of like taking like all those steps back in a way.
I had this magical thinking where I was like, I'll just do this 84-hour fast and that'll knock off a nice chunk real quick, because I've done those before, but
a lot of it's water retention.
Yeah. So, but the hardest part for me was just the battle with the food. And so there came a point where Matt just was like, look, dude, be honest with me. Do you even want to hit this 70 kgs, or do you want to just like, do we want to do something different? Like, do you want to come up with a different goal? Because you're killing me. Because I'd go, I'd start getting close, and then I would just like, it was like a self-sabotage where all of a sudden I'd start feeling like, oh, I'm losing too much weight, and this and that. Like, it was just all mental. And so next thing I know, I'd be back up to like 175, start pushing 180 again. So it was like 165 was like the barrier weight for me. I'd get down to that and then just go back up.
Yeah. I suppose it's sort of like a burnout, isn't it? You hit that burnout point. That's where like deloads and maintenance weeks can be quite important, just to sort of give your body and your mind as well that break. Like, did you know how much like you actually needed to lose when you first started? Did you think it would be less?
I thought it was going to be way less.
Yeah,
I thought,
a lot of people do.
I was like 208 when I started, and then Matt told me 70 kgs, and I'm looking and I'm like, that's like 154 pounds. It's like 54 pounds. I'm like, I don't know about that, man. I think 170. I'll be pretty ripped, and I hit 170 and was like, yeah,
Matt was like,
he's talking about.
Gotta go. We gotta keep going down. Yeah. That's, bro. You don't realize sometimes, like even if there's no like level of atrophy and you're not losing any muscle mass, everyone doesn't realize how much they actually need to lose when they're first starting the program, and that's why setting milestones is quite important. It's important to have like a long-term roadmap, and when I've got a client starting out, I might know in the back of my mind, right, this is roughly what they're going to end up at, but then we might start with only losing, say, only 15 to 20 pounds for that first milestone. Because if I say, like, had you come on board, say if you're working with me when we first started out and I said, right, Sean, we need to lose 50 pounds, you're going to be like, oh my God.
Right.
Yeah, like that. Like, it's like standing at the bottom of a cliff. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got like the horizon like up in the distance. It's crazy, mate. But yeah, that's where like milestones like do come quite important. I wanted to touch on like your family life as well. Your dad of 3, I thought it was 2, dad of 3. And would you say, your children motivate you to sort of live like a longer life, better quality life,
Definitely.
Have more stamina, better energy, things like that?
Absolutely, man. They're like, I want to be around for them. I want to be healthy. I don't want to be a burden. That was what I kept thinking. Like, I don't want to get old and be a burden and be like in poor health and out of shape and on a bunch of medicine and then have them have to take care of me. Like, I want to be as healthy as I can, as long as I can.
There was a coach, Felix. I actually saw a video of recently. Shout out Felix. He was talking about like when he was younger, his granddad, and he'd used to do like a lot of like yard work, and he'd have like his top off, and just being able to lift the weights that he was lifting, just like in like his backyard and stuff, doing like gardening and like shifting things and doing like things around the house in his like 70s and 80s. That's like the goal, isn't it? You don't want to start to get to your 70s and you're starting to struggle to walk and you're then physically incapable. You might have grandchildren, you're not able to pick up your grandchildren because you've got a problem with your back and all these things. If you're thinking long term, that's what I think can really motivate you, like, and keep you consistent for the rest of your life. Because once you like hit a goal of phase 1 and then you come into phase 2, it's like, right, you've hit that goal, what's the next goal? Then it's what's the next goal? And you've got to really think long term, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Has your progress impacted other areas of your life with work, like your productivity, your creativity in work? Have you got like a better structure with that? Have you found any progress or improvements?
Oh, it's helped with everything. It's helped with, especially like the way I felt about myself. I didn't realize how little self-love that I had before, and now it's like totally changed as far as like how I perform at work, how I am in life, how I interact with people, just the confidence that I have. Like, it's just totally changed everything. It's been huge. And it's funny that you said something about the phase 1 goal, because we started out at, I think, 74. Then we moved it down to 70. And then once we started getting close to 70, Matt's like, no, I don't want to change it on you again because we already did. But if you think you want to go past that, I'm cool with it. And so we did. We went down to 68.
Right. So it was actually your own choice that wanted to push further, which for a lot of people wants to get to that point. I had a guy recently that did finish phase 1, but he was basically just done with it, I said, we don't want to cut any corners because then that might mess up your phase two a little bit more. If you've got like a little bit of a higher body fat percentage and you then come up to maintenance into a surplus, you might likely accrue a little bit more body fat onto your body composition. But, he was at a point where he was pretty much, at that 12% body fat mark. Could he have pushed further? Potentially, but he'd already lost 50 pounds. So at that point, where, like you say, when you've been on program for that amount of time, you can just sort of burn yourself out with it, and you can just become done with it in a way, and you just want to get into that second phase, but it's like I say, it's good that you had that mindset of wanting to test the waters and actually see how jacked and how diced you could get. Right, next, what's like, apart from obviously the inevitable with the weight loss, what's the biggest thing you're proud of in your journey? Do you think, like with your training, has it been your strength? Has it been like improvements in conditioning? Did you have any performance goals throughout with like running like that?
To be able to just move around better, to be able to have more breath when I do cardio, to be able to, I was happy that I kept most of my strength, even though I cut so much weight. I was able to maintain a lot of strength, but my endurance went up, and it's been quite a blessing, just all around.
What's the biggest lesson you think you've learned about yourself since starting? It could be habitual, in terms of like your self-discipline, the perspective, like you were talking about with, having that quality and longevity of life with your kids. What's the biggest thing you think you've overall learned about yourself?
What I learned about myself was that I just had to dial in. Like, I had the knowledge, I had the guidance, but I just was like losing focus, and I was allowing external factors, maybe something going on in life or cravings for food, to like take over, and just to be able to control myself and just have that control to where I'm like, no, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going. It just showed me that I could lock in, I could focus, and I could do it. Like, even though it seemed, especially at the beginning, thinking, what, I'm going to lose over 50 pounds? Like, there's no way, and then to do it, it's like, oh yeah, man. Like,
do you think it was a case that you had to really lock in for like extended periods of time, or do you think you made it quite sustainable? You made quite a good balance, because I imagine with having, younger children, young kids, like, or teenagers, you've got like family duties as well, haven't you? On the weekends, meals out, events, things like that.
Yeah, it was a combination of being able to balance, but being able to be locked in to where like I could still go out with my family and have a nice dinner, but know like exactly what to eat, what to choose, what to avoid, and so that I could still be living life, but making the progress that I was trying to make.
With like off-plan socials, what was your strategy for banking calories? Would you have done that through your intake, or would you have like tried to do more? Because a lot of my guys will either eat less on the day that they've maybe got a wedding, a meal out, a social, whatever it is, or they will do like an extra 5K run, for example. As long as they're getting enough recovery, they'll do that like the day after.
Right. For me, it worked in a combination. So I would increase my cardio, but I would also, especially the day of, I would really limit like what I would eat, so that way I would be able to have a nice bank to where I'd be showing up somewhere with like 1,500 calories, to where I'm like, okay, if I eat 1,500 calories, I'm gonna be full anyway. So that helped a lot.
And you're coming into, you're your client ambassador now of the brand. Are you an ambassador like Gabriel?
No, I'm not.
No, just, right, okay, no worries, that's fine. Do you think that'll be something you might want to look into in the future?
Yeah.
Be represent. What's it like, Gabriel? Looks tired over there. You've got yours to come yet, bro. For like value out of the program now, I've done like an episode of like the dark side of online coaching, right? And I wanted to ask, is there anything you think from your experience on the program, whether that's to do with the app, whether that's to do with logging food, that you think we could, as a business, improve on? Putting you on the spot a little bit there, Sean.
I mean, I felt like Matt was great. He was very thorough. He was very effective. And then after we did the U.S. Summit in Chula Vista, I was talking to George quite a bit out there, and he was like, man, you should join the inner circle. So I started talking to George. So I ended up joining the inner circle, and that was just like a huge game change for me. Like as far as focus and that, now I don't just have Matt questioning me. Now I'm answering to George too. And George is like messaging me on the weekends and, hey, dude, you been on point? You been eating? Your check-in going to be good? You know, I'm looking at it when Matt gets it.
Yeah.
So it's just like that extra accountability and that extra like hands-on.
Thing that like pushed you a bit further than maybe what you thought you could do.
Absolutely.
Having George there as well.
Absolutely.
George doesn't beat around the bush, man. He'll tell you straight to the point.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he does. So that helped me a lot.
All right, mate. Well, we are closing in on our 30 minutes, man. But I always like to, at the end of each episode, do a bit of like a quick fire wrap up. So I'll just ask a question. Only needs to be a sentence or two, you know. So first one, what's the least favorite exercise Matt gives you in your program? That he puts it in the program and you think, fuck's sake, Matt, why are you giving me that?
Oh man, my least favorite. I don't know, because he worked with me when
you're putting your program together. Right, what's your most favorite then? The most favorite exercise?
The most favorite has become pull-ups.
Pull-ups.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen like an improvement in your endurance with pull-ups?
Yes, absolutely. Like when I first started, I couldn't really even do maybe one, maybe two. And then I got to the point where I was doing sets of 10. And like on a leg day, I would just throw in a bunch of pull-ups. So I had a leg day where I did 140 pull-ups throughout the workout. So I was actually kind of worrying Matt because I was doing so many pull-ups. He thought I was going to burn out.
What's one food you'll never give up or compromise?
Chocolate.
Nice.
Chocolate.
Same for me, to be fair, actually. The most valuable part of the PA program for you personally, whether that's the check-ins, you know, having that 24/7 communication with Matt and George now on the higher ticket. What's the most valuable part? Can't remember what it's at.
Just having access to the coaches and knowing that they truly care about your journey. You're not just a client. You're not just somebody who they're just like throwing random, like everything. They tailored everything to me. Like if there was things that I had an injury or something going on, like Matt would make the necessary adjustments to make sure that I was still progressing, even if I couldn't do as much. So.
Cool. What's one daily habit that transformed your routine, do you think?
Switching my workouts back to mornings was a game changer because I had kind of drifted to doing evening workouts. And once I went to California, when I got back, I was like, we're doing back all morning workouts. We're going to just get it knocked out first thing in the day.
It's good to take that workout off first thing. I think if you're a night trainer, I like training in the evening because I like having more carbs in me, so I've got more energy and feel like I've got more strength than just like smashing a black coffee first thing in the morning. But if you're doing it in the morning, you're getting that box ticked bright and early. Then you're not pushing it back. I feel like it's like you're delaying training for the rest of your day. It's always in the back of my mind if I've got to train at like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And it can put you off doing what you've like got to do.
Right, and it sets the tone for the day too. Like, okay, I've already starting my day out with a win, starting my day out with a good accomplishment.
Yeah, my mum actually, she goes swimming every morning, and before she goes into work, like she'll do like 30, 40 lengths at the swimming pool, and she'll get to work and she's like buzzing. She's like got so much energy, because she's already been out. She's had a coffee in the morning. She's been active. She's been moving her body. Like they say, energy creates energy. And the rest of like her colleagues are like moping around and like still waking up. So again, it just goes to show, kickstarts your day. Is there a piece of advice? This is the last question, mate. A piece of advice you'd give your past self before starting this journey or the program?
Piece of advice I would give would be to do what your coach is telling you and don't try to make your own don't try to improvise and create your own little shortcuts because you end up just setting yourself back.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for coming on the podcast, mate, and coming down. I know it's been a long day.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
But yeah, thank you so much, man. The next guests, plural, is going to be Zane and Gabriel, who are actually in the room for the next one. All right, so that'll be all out the following week, guys. Make sure you check it out, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. See you later. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.